Welcome to today's session on writing job application letter and resume. It's prepared by Dr. S. Parvadavardhani, Assistant Professor in English, Alapachutta Government College of Engineering and Technology, Karaikudi. Today we are going to see how to write a resume, and before that how to write a covering letter followed by the enclosure resume. Though it's written as resume, which is normally pronounced as resume in English, this word is pronounced as resume when it refers to the kind of curriculum vitae or the content that we write along the job application letter. Because this word has its origin from French and it is pronounced as resume. Job application letter. When it comes to job application letter, these are all formal letters which are written to future employers by future employee, or a fresh graduate or an experienced candidate applies for a job. While applying for a job, they write this job application letter. This letter normally has a title. The title goes like this: job application letter, or an inquiry for the post of designation is written there. That makes up the title. And after the title, we have the from address. Normally in official letters, from address is written to the left alignment with the heading from. After that, the details are given starting with the name. But in job application letter, the from address is taken to the right corner, top right corner, and it starts without the name. And even the heading from is not written there. So in 2 to 3 sentences or 2 to 3 lines, from address is written. After that, one space is given, and in the next thing, date is written. Here again, date normally is written at the end, or in some formal letters it's written after from. The same thing is applicable here also. After from, one space is left, and then we write the date. Date again is right alignment. After this, we have to address. As it happens for the from address, there is no title given for to address. This word to is not written. After a single space in left alignment, the to address is written. Normally the letters are addressed to the HR. Sometimes it is addressed to the managing director. Whatever the case may be, whoever is called for an advertisement, to them the letters can be addressed. And sometimes in recent days, if they know the name of the person, the name of the HR, that case the name is written in the to address. After to address, we have the salutation, how we address the employer. Since it's a formal letter, the normal thing that we do is we go in for respected sir or madam, or simply sir or madam. But in this letter, it is written as dear sir or madam. Now this dear endearment is normally used in informal letters, but in official letter, especially in job application letter, this is preferred. And sometimes if we know the name, we can actually write the name here, whether it is Sushila or Rajendran, etc. After this, we have subject and reference, which is normally intended few spaces from the margin. Now here in this case, subject as usual, it is about the details of the letter or what this letter is on. Reference, here it refers to the advertisement in which the job seeker has actually found about the vacancy available in the company. That reference can be given. Or here the reference will consist of the advertisement number. This normally will be published in any newspaper, so the details of the newspaper along with the date. If this advertisement has been found online, then the details of that can be given here as reference. Basically, advertisement number and the date. Next is content. Content of this letter is normally written in 3 to 4 paragraphs. The fourth paragraph is sometimes merged with the third paragraph, depending on one's priority. So, what is the first paragraph on? The first paragraph discusses or reveals the details about the writer, the job seeker. What is this qualification? Qualifications, a brief saying that I am an engineering graduate and I'm applying for this post after seeing your advertisement in this. That's a kind of short introduction that is required here. This is followed by the second paragraph where the qualifications and achievements are given in a little bit detailed manner. Though everything is mentioned in the resume, what do we give here as the highlights of the career, highlights of your career or of your lifetime achievements can be recorded here. Say you are a state of player or you have been the representative of your class for the entire duration, or you have stood first in your academics, have got gold medal, or you have got distinctions. All those details can be given here. The next is third paragraph. Here you will be actually pledging your sincerity and commitment if you're selected for the job. So it's a kind of promise that you give the company about what you will be doing if you're given a chance to work there. And here you can also mention about the enclosure that you're attaching. Here it is a resume that you're attaching. Sometimes reference is also attached. That again it's optional. So one thing that we attach for sure is a resume that can be given in the enclosure. Next is fourth paragraph. Here it is actually like expressing your gratitude. We thank them. It can also be attached to the third paragraph. And here you can also tell them you would like to meet them as early as possible or you're waiting for their reply. All these details can be given here. Now where thank you is given here separately, we don't have to write thank you and a full stop or thanking you and a comma as we write in any formal letter. That is not necessary. But when this paragraph is omitted and we just stop here, then a thanking you can be written, and then closure can be given with yours faithfully and signature. Instead of yours faithfully, we can give any kind of neutral term like cheers, which is actually the trend going on in job application letter. After this, we can write enclosure, the short form ENCL, and the colon is given here. And after that, we have number 1 and write resume. Now, in all these things, job application letter, when you write a job application letter, it has to be remembered that it keeps on changing with the changing times and the demands of the employers. So, what can change here is the alignments and the details of the content that's written here, which can club with the previous, like merge with the previous paragraphs, or it can go into detailed. For instance, when they write of a qualification, it can be split into 3 different paragraphs. One about your education qualification, the second about your technical qualification, what are you good at, extra skills, technical skills. The third can be about soft skills or your interpersonal skills. So this again can split up based on how you want to present it to your employer. And here goes the job application letter. Next is resume. How do we write a resume? Resume is not biodata or curriculum vitae. There is a basic difference between a biodata and a resume. Biodata talks about your physical features, about your height, weight, appearance, and all those details. And we also go on to give a lot of details about your personal informations. A lot of personal informations are given. That is restricted here. Resume talks more about your educational qualification, your academics, and what all can be contributed to your job. What can you do in your job? That is given importance here. Personal details are sent to the backward. So, in resume, we talk more about the academics. Any resume starts with the name and address. The address also makes a mention of the email and phone number. Email ID and phone number are given different headings and they talk about your uniqueness. It creates a difference when you use words which are different from others. Instead of writing email ID, people write to me. And instead of writing phone number, people do write hunting line or chase. So they differ, they want to make a difference by creating new terms and new words. And with regard to name and address, two address can be given if you want, one on either side of the page, left and right you can have. One can be your temporary and the other can be permanent address, or one can be your college address, the other can be your home address. It depends. Especially when you're applying in your final year, you can give your college address as one address. If it is a single address, it can be centralized, and then it should be centered and it should be given. After your name and address, we have this career objective or objective. It should talk about your aim or goal as to why you would like to apply in this job or apply for this job. Why would you like to work in this company? Normally, career objectives should talk about what you would like to be after some 5 years or 10 years. It talks about in which way you want to grow. Now, the growth that you're talking about should be more of technical nature. You should talk about your professional growth, because with your professional growth, the company also grows. So your career objective should talk more about your career growth, professional growth, and how your growth will affect or will contribute to the company's growth. Next is education qualification. Education qualification talks about your education right from your 10th. This is normally given in the reverse order, like your highest qualification is placed first. Maybe your PG, postgraduate details are given first, followed by your UG, undergraduation is given, like BE degree. That is followed by your 12th and 10th. And your percentage and grades can be given here in the education qualification. After this, if you are a candidate who has already completed your degree and who has been working, we talk about work experience here. Otherwise, work experience does not come here. For a fresher, after education qualification, we go to in-plant trainings. Now, in-plant trainings talks about all the trainings that you have actually undergone during your 4-year degree course. Trainings that you have taken up during your summer days, summer vacation. They can be given. And whatever is given in your resume, care should be taken to update the details that are being given, and update the knowledge that you have gained during these trainings, so that in the interviews, if questions are raised based on this, then you are in a position to answer them. After doing your in-plant trainings, you can give about projects done. Projects done. Normally, a project is done in the final year, but in our college, students also have projects in their third year. They have mini projects. Those details also can be given. And sometimes students take part in Thiran project, which is there in the first year. Those details also can be given. So when we talk about or when we write about projects, the title of the project followed by a short description of what the project is on. Here again, questions will be raised on this during the interview. So preparation has to be done for this also. Later on, we have co-curricular activities. What do we write in co-curricular activities? In curriculum, which is a written document, we have all the details which is part of the curriculum. Normally it deals with academics. But in college, NSS, NCC and games, that sports, are included in the curriculum. It is made mandatory for all the college students in India, or at least in Tamil Nadu, to take up any one of these things. They have to participate. So it becomes part of the curriculum. But still, it is not academic, so it is co-curricular activities. So NCC, NSS and sports have become co-curricular activities in college. Whereas in schools, they would have been part of extracurricular activities because they were not part of your curriculum. Because it was not made compulsory for school students. There again, it differs. If it has been mentioned in the curriculum, it is co-curricular. If it is not, then it is extracurricular. After that, we have extracurricular activities. This refers to anything that you do beyond your curriculum in your college days. For example, taking part in competitions like Rangoli, oratorical competitions, dancing, drama, or mono acting. Whatever you do apart from the curriculum, they can be given as extracurricular activities. And club activities like Youth Red Cross, Red Ribbon Club, road track club. All these things, if they are part of the curriculum, they can be left off, but if not, they have to be included in the co-curricular activities. After this comes workshops and conferences attended. So taken part in workshops and conferences. You can make a mention of them in one or two lines, mentioning the title of the workshop or the conference. And if you present a paper, you can also mention that here, along with the date and the place where it took place. And then seminars attended. This also can be mentioned. And these two can sometimes be pushed up to here as 6 and 7, and co-curricular and extracurricular activities can be pushed back. There again, it depends on the person who's writing the resume, who's preparing the resume. If they feel that they have done this well and they have comparatively lesser activities here, then these two can be pushed up here. These can be brought to the back. After this, we have additional qualification. Additional qualification, when it talks about your technical skills, that you've got extra classes on computer skills or any other technical classes that you have taken up, those details can be given here along with your soft skills. Now, when you give additional qualification, if you want to give these details after educational qualification, because if you feel that they actually contribute to your education qualification, they give enhancement to the education qualification, then additional qualification can be given here after education qualification. Even if it is about soft skills, it can be given here if you feel it requires that. For instance, if you are going to apply for a computer-based company and you're a mechanical student, you've taken up lots of computer courses apart from your academics or after your college hours, then you can give the additional details, additional qualifications after your education qualifications. And the next thing is languages known. India being a multilingual country, anybody and everybody seems to know at least two languages. If they are educated, they know their mother tongue and English, and the additional languages that you know to write, read, and to speak can be given. Learning additional languages reveals that you are always having a willingness to learn. So this gives a positive impact about you, and it also has some practical applications. When you know more languages, you can go and work in so many places. So this is one detail that the company would be asking you for, be expecting you from. Next is personal information. As I already mentioned, unlike biodata, all the personal details are pushed backward in resume. Personal details that are given here are father's name, gender, and nationality, sometimes address. But here again, apart from your father's name, nothing else is mandatory. It's just optional. You revealing your gender name, your religion, and nationality are all optional, because no job should be given based on these things. Most importantly, caste, community, all these things are not mentioned here in the personal information. And next to the personal information, we have reference. Sometimes reference can be taken above personal information also. The reference is about details of one or two persons who can vouch for your conduct, who can tell about your academic efficiency. This is normally given by one of your professors or one of your seniors who's actually working in the company that you're applying for. So in the reference section, you give the name and contact details of the person. But remember one thing that is very important is, before you write here, you have to get permission and inform the person whom you're giving as reference, because anytime they can be contacted from the company and they should be in a position to remember you and your efficiency and talk something good about you. When the company calls and if you're not informed them and they don't pick up the call or they don't respond to the call, then it's kind of a black mark for you, and they should actually remember you well. So unless and until you tell your professor that you've given it as him as or her as reference, they may not remember your efficiencies well. Though they know you, they will remember if you remind them. Then declaration and signature. Declaration is optional, and signatures are normally given at the end of all these details to say that what you've given above are all true. And with regard to declaration, You write a heading as declaration and say that all the details given above are true to the best of my knowledge, and you sign. That's about resume. If you have any queries, you can post in the comment section of Google Classroom. Have a nice day. Thank you.